Hello, welcome back to Fire's Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on Suzerain 2.0. So last time out, Petr admitted to having an affair with Olivia, and then we discovered that Olivia was also a spy. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be dealing with the fallout of that here. So, whoops, let's see, there's no papers or anything, so check this overview thing though. Situation, national security breach. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. Alright. So yeah, it's a whole sword for a political briefing meeting. The morning sunlight streamed through the windows as Lucy and I entered the White Room. I sat down. Lucy remained standing.
I'm afraid I won't be able to join you for your meetings today, sir. The business surrounding Olivia Suna affair is taking up all of my time at the moment.
He dropped a thick folder in front of me.
I was hoping to go over the day's agenda with you before your cabinet members begin arriving, but duty calls.
He walked out. I took a look at the folder in front of me, then at the coffee carafe in the corner of the room. I walked over and poured myself a cup. I wondered when my new secretary would start work. Internal Affairs was first on the list of items. Lilius and Nia, along with their close staff, joined me around the table. Lilius cast an eye around the room. No new secretary yet. I hope this means Miss Suna's replacement is getting an extremely thorough background check. Needless to say, such an egregious breach of security should be met with harsh consequences, but you know that already. Shall we begin? Yes, please do. Mr. President, I want to congratulate you again on your historic accomplishment for the British community. Thank you for approving my plans for autonomy. Lilius grimaced at her remarks. After holding a local election, Ishval Erson was elected as governor of the autonomous zone of Berja. This marks a new era for all Bergens. I've gotten reports of days-long post-election celebrations all across the region. And now they're building their own security force from scratch. My problem remains the same, if not worse. If they do not cooperate like Braun's forces, I'm afraid the consequences will be more deadly this time around. In any case, now that the governor's gone, this will hopefully prove to be a huge step for British rights in the region. Governor Erson and the representatives of the British Democratic Movement have sent you the best wishes, Mr. President. That's good to know. Please send them my regards. Of course. We'll keep it brief. I think that'll be all for our internal affairs update. They gathered the documents. See you later, Mr. President. They took their entourage and left the room. Simon came in shortly afterwards. Yeah, Mr. President, where's the Vice President today? I don't know. Have you seen him? Not lately. Simon's expression remained unchanged as he sat down to face me. I just want to provide you with a few updates on the economy. You may have noticed that the government budget is in need of a boost. My ministry is therefore working on a bill that will increase the tax on tobacco products from 10 to 30%. A similar bill is being drafted to introduce a 20% tax on alcohol. In addition to bringing in neat revenue, the new laws would curb excessive drinking and smoking and so on. Interesting initiatives, but would the income we'd receive be worth the harm to source businesses? That's a good question. The tax would apply to products designated for export, which would mitigate the damage somewhat. Ordinarily, I'd advise against this kind of thing, but with our budget tipping into the red, any measure that would reverse our deficit is worth considering. Thankfully, tourism in Soreland is on the rise, so we can expect to see a healthy stream of income there. Our investment in cultural preservation paid off, it seems. Well, that's good news. Thanks for telling me. I never quite understood why anyone would want a vacation sort of the Lespies right there, but I suppose our country has a certain charm. There's a knock on the door. Gus Manger strolled in and grabbed a seat.
Mr. President, Simon. Some excitement around the palace lately, I've heard.
That's just how it is around here. New adventure every day.
You can say that again. Anyway, you both know how revitalizing the Gruny region has always been my pet project of sorts. Well, thanks to the efforts of my ministry and the funding allocated by the President, Gruny is looking stable these days.
Stable? That's it?
Gus shrugged. It's far from the massive surge in economic growth that I had hoped to see, but I still believe the area has wealth of untapped potential. And if we seize every possible opportunity to invest in Gruny now, we can still see positive results within our town.
Yeah, alright, I'll see what I can do to help boost development there.
That would be great, Mr. President. I hope it's not too late.
Now, I'll be on the lookout for further opportunities to invest in the region. In any case, I have heard that United Cantona is preparing to offer us a substantial agricultural aid package. I am suspicious, of course, but perhaps they're funding and turning Grooney around, or if it's not. Our alliance with Volksland is already paying off. First you accept Cantona aid, next you spark an uprising against hard-working landowners like my family. I won't deny Grooney needs the money, but there's got to be another way. The door to the White Room opened slowly. David made his way inside. Oh, hello, gentlemen. I'm early again, aren't I? Not to worry, Mr. Vichy. We've just about wrapped things up. Well, while we're both here, we may as well talk about the economic impact of our recent alliance. Yeah, wise idea, Mr. Hole. Our new partnership is now without its consequences. As you may recall, almost immediately after we sealed our alliance with Volksland, Lesby imposed strict tariffs on us in retaliation. The fallout won't impact our economy right away, but I do expect a significant hit before the end of the term. Fortunately, I believe any short-term economic harm imparted by these tariffs will be offset by the alliance's long-term benefits. I would have agreed to the alliance if I didn't believe that as well. I'm looking at the big picture. I'm not fully convinced the Volksland partnership will pay off, although the aid offer from United Cantona is a head start. Yes, and a sign of possible greater interest from the CSP. Simon grimaced. Hooray. We'll leave you to your meeting, gentlemen. My regards to Mr. Victorn. Have a good afternoon, both of you. Simon and Gus rose from his seats and left the room. After the door closed, David regarded me for a second. His blue eyes seemed to see right through me. My ministry was notified about the Rumbergian infiltrator. It's a very delicate situation, Anton. Yeah, I understand. Our relations with Rumberg were precarious enough before this. Yeah, please understand. The tensions between Southern and Rumberg have not eased. Quite the contrary. As you might imagine, our decision to grant asylum to the whistleblower, Miss Hailstone, did not sit well with the kingdom. An incident such as this might serve as a tipping point. Place too much blame on Rumberg, we may lose our chance at reconciliation. I mean, yeah, you're right as usual. The last thing we want is a war on our hands. And a compromise in the name of the greater good may spare countless lives. A pair of loud, precise raps came on the door. I'll be at General Lancy with further update of Volksland Alliance. If you don't mind, I'll stay for that. Of course, David. It's always valuable having you around. Yosef brusquely entered and took a seat facing me. He and David nodded at each other.
Mr. President, Mr. Vichy. For better or worse, we are now in military alliance with the Republic of Volksland.
He paused, as if he couldn't bring himself to go on. Finally, he continued.
As I expected, the commies, the Volkslandians, began asking for assistance practically as soon as the ink was dry. Sullivan's recognition of Hellion as Volgish territories emboldened the Republic to begin planning its invasion of the island. And their war ministers informed me that it will commence in the coming months.
I hope they're not planning anything too drastic.
Yeah, they are. They're leaving us out of it. We are readying our forces for assistance with aerial reconnaissance and naval blockade, but our troops will not set foot on the island itself.
I too expect that allying Volksland would necessitate our involvement with the Hellion situation. I'm grateful that's as far as it goes.
The Volks better not back down if it comes to war between Sullivan and Rumberg, that's for sure.
This alliance wasn't my first choice either, but I do trust Volksland to provide assistance if we're in need. They could prove to be a formidable ally indeed. He glanced at Yosef. If that's all, Mr. Lancy, I suggest we leave present rain to it. It's been a long morning.
All right, Mr. President.
He and David stood up.
I hope we tear those Rumbergians new one for installing a damn spy in your office.
Thank you both for the updates. My ministers left. David gently closed the door behind them, allowing me a moment of quiet once more. Fantastic. Okay. Alright, let's see. I don't see any reports, but we've got a couple newspaper articles and an update here. So what's going on in the overview? Let's see, dispute with the Burgeon regional governments. Okay, that's new. Oh, okay, so that's kind of what Lilius was talking about with jurisdiction over the Burgeon security forces. Okay. Oops. That could prove to be a problem, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, let's see, we've got 3 articles here. So first up from the Wholesore Post, the Sorsh armed forces stand ready to aid Volksland. As tensions around Helluland escalate, the Sorsh armed forces have declared their readiness to assist our military ally Volksland if the situation worsens. This display of solidarity is a testament to the honor of the Sorsh people for upholding the commitments of the alliance. Sorsh importance in maintaining regional stability is more important than ever. And from Lockhaven Times, FC Anarcha starts a new season with a flourish. Early matches fuel optimism. Sorsh National League is kicked off with a bang, and FC Anarcha is emerging as one of the standout contenders early in the season. The club's impressive start has ignited a sense of excitement and optimism among fans and pundits alike. In their opening match, FC Anarcha displayed their attacking prowess by securing a convincing 3-0 victory against FC Wholesword. The most recent match was against HOS Conriat, where FC Anarcha produced another remarkable display of attacking football, clinching a resounding 4-2 win. The veteran Sorsh striker Zlatar was instrumental in controlling the game's tempo, while the famous Anarchan midfielders continued to showcase their predatory instincts. With early success under their belt, speculation is rife among football enthusiasts who are already tipping FC Anarcha as strong contenders for the championship, along with FC Gullsword. However, the season is still in its infancy, and much can change over the course of the campaign. Fun. And from Geopolitico, United Quintana discovers Arcasian base in Polaris. In a starting revelation, United Quintana satellite has uncovered a massive Arcasian military base in Polaris, strategically positioned within bomber range of United Quintana. This unexpected development has sparked a strong response from United Quintana, with government officials threatening to establish a naval base on the continent in response. The base, equipped with advanced weaponry and communication facilities, represents a significant escalation in Arcasian military presence in the region. Analysts believe that this move could be part of a broader strategy to exert influence and safeguard Arcasian interests. The unveiling of this base and the ensuing reactions significantly amplified the existing tensions between these two superpowers, further complicating diplomatic relations. Observers are now watching closely for potential retaliatory actions and further strategic maneuvers that could reshape the delicate balance of power in the region. Interesting. Alright. Well, let's head back to Wholesword, and there's one report on the ATO's influence on the rise in Wholesword. Wholesword is experiencing a surge in activities related to the Arcasian Treaty Organization. The city has seen an increase in ATO-sponsored events, including symposiums, public forums, and networking sessions. The local populace has shown considerable interest in ATO's objectives and initiatives, reflecting the organization's successful attempts to expand its influence within Wholesword. That's a potential problem, but we have a much bigger problem on our hands here, the press release for the affair scandal. Alright, with this, I want to try to back Petr as best as I can here. I don't know if that'll help lessen the scandal any, but pretty sure it'll make things a little bit easier for us going forward. So, it was the morning of Livia's trial, and hordes of reporters were gathered in front of the state courthouse. Petr, Lucian, and I stood by the entrance. Lucian had helped break the news of my secretary's arrest. Now the media was beginning to question how exactly a Rumberg agent had been able to infiltrate the Maroon Palace. It was time for me to deliver an explanation. A podium with a bank of microphones awaited us on the courthouse steps. Petr looked uncertain. I had told him that I would be doing all the talking today.
Karanti's reporters will ask softball questions, but I'd still advise you to keep your responses as brief as possible.
I nodded. Petr took a deep breath. Together, we stepped behind the podium. The reporters clustered around us and started shouting questions. Thank you for coming. As you are aware, Livia Suno, former secretary to the president of Sordland, is currently being tried for espionage. Rest assured, a security breach of this magnitude shall never happen again. These look like almost the same thing, but I'm going to go with this one. However, the fact remains that she should never have been allowed to infiltrate our administration in the first place. She definitely didn't really have access to much information, I hope. So we'll go with that one. We'll go with this one. Seems a little bit more professional, I guess. I and Vice President Petr would like to take this opportunity to apologize for our disgraceful lack of oversight. The journalist gasped and murmured. Petr turned to face me, his mouth hanging open. In his impulsive hiring practices, Mr. Vectrin displayed a lapse in judgment. But as your president, I bear the brunt of the responsibility. We'll go with that one. I have failed in my duty to keep this country safe and secure. I hope I can regain your trust. No, this isn't right. Sweat was beading on Peter's brow. He grabbed the closest microphone. Please, don't listen to President Rain. This is all my fault. I was drunk and reckless. I broke my marriage vows. My selfishness compromised the Rain administration, all of Soldan. Tears began streaming down his face. I've been a sorry excuse for a husband and a terrible vice president. I resign. The crowd became even louder. I turned away from the microphones and looked at Petr. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. You'd never survive the chum otherwise, even with Marcel doing his best. And I owe you this much after what I did. The reporters were now waiting for us. One woman in the front row looked particularly insistent. Mr. Vectrin? I'll do that. I'll be answering all questions on the Vice President's behalf. President Rain, is Mr. Vectrin implying that he and the covert agent posing as President Rain's secretary were engaging in other agents? Yes. Can you elaborate, please? Lucian interjected.
Neither the President nor the Vice President are taking any more questions. Thank you.
Maybe I should have done that, but that's okay. The reporters reluctantly dispersed. Lucy and Petr and I looked at each other for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, Petr lowered his eyes. I guess I'll go to the palace and start packing my things then. I'll come with you. Thanks, but I think I need some time alone. I watched him descend the courthouse steps to his car.
Mr. Vectrin certainly made a scene, but it appears you make it out of this unscathed. Of course, there's now the matter of replacing both your secretary and your vice presidents.
I have a few candidates in mind.
Very good, sir.
We walked back up the stairs to the courthouse to watch the rest of the trial. I should let Petr answer that question himself, but that's okay. Alright, let's see. Well, let's start with this codex entry here. Cabinet, Petr Vectrin. So I'm going to guess it's just saying that, yup, he's in a scandal and he resigned from his post. Julio. And then others. I'm going to assume it's Livia Suno. Yep. Oh, nice. That, like, completely updated everything. Alright. That's kind of cool. Sweet. Alright, I think that's everything. Yeah. That's click whole sword. Okay, there are no new reports. Let's check out the news articles. So, first up from the whole sword post. Rumberg infiltrated Maroon Palace. President's secretary arrested. Breaking news from the Maroon Palace. Presidential Secretary Livia Suno has just been revealed to be a spy from Rumberg. More details are forthcoming, but it appears the agent, whose real name is not yet known, managed to get past Palace staff's stringent background checks and obtain confidential information from within the Rain administration. The President has taken swift, decisive action to remove her from her position and bring her to justice. And then, from Lockhaven Times, I don't know why that grayed out so fast, but whatever. President's secretary arrested for treason. Livia Suno, secretary to President Anton Rain, was arrested yesterday following an investigation that revealed her to be a covert agent from Berg. Her trial is scheduled to begin in the next several days. In the meantime, the question of how an enemy spy is able to infiltrate the Maroon Palace on such a high level remains. President Rain has announced he will soon be holding a press conference to address this potentially brewing scandal. Except we already had the press conference, but that's okay. And from the Radical, VP Vectrin resigns in disgrace. Petr Vectrin cemented his place as the most pathetic vice president in Sora's history after revealing that he leaked sensitive government information to Anton Rain's secretary, now known to be Rumberg's spy. After Rain attempted to blame himself for the leak, Vectrin tearfully assumed full responsibility and implicated himself in multiple extramarital affairs before resigning from his position. May we suggest Rain appoint a woman as VP this time around? I mean, I probably will go with Gloria Tori, but that's alright. Anyway. Let's see. I don't think it really matters so much. Let's just start with a briefing on the women's rights situation. I was sitting in my office. I looked at the clock. 2:26 p.m. It is almost time for my appointment with Ciara on women's rights. There's a knock at the door. Ciara entered the room with folders in her hand. The door did not close behind her. Monica entered the room and stood next to Ciara. Mr. President? Anton, before we start, I just want to thank you for agreeing to this meeting. I've been dreaming about this ever since I volunteered with the Social League of Women. I can't believe the moment's finally here. I think the both of you together could finally bring change to Sordland. I hope you're right. Ciara sat down on a chair and laid down the folder she was holding. We still have a long way to go before social women are able to enjoy the same rights and privileges as men. Even as your counterparts Nakazi and Yada Quintana, we've been begging about this for decades, Anton. And this isn't the only moral issue. I've seen enough revolutions in this world to understand the main driver of any change. Money. She flipped open a folder and started pulling out documents. In Yada Quintana, law dictates that women earn the same wages as men in their respective fields. My research shows that this led to a 15.5% increase in productivity. You could say this had a direct influence on the superpower status. Acacia passed laws ensuring maternity leave rights, child daycare centers, and tax deductions for working families. In turn, they experienced a 12.6% productivity boost and a flourishing economy. Both countries also have significantly lower infant mortality rates, a statistic I believe is directly linked to the improved status of women. Our administration has successfully managed to pull Sordland back from the brink of economic ruin. She leaned back in her chair. So, I'm asking, why stop there? Why not improve our economy and modernize our society at the same time? It's only logical. Monica handed me one of the documents. It had a list of bullet points on it. The two of us talked it over, and these are the measures we believe are most urgently needed. I let my eyes wander down the list. Criminalizing domestic violence. I shouldn't have to tell you how crucial this is. It is utterly unbelievable that in this day and age, Solar's men are legally allowed to beat their wives. I agree, it is a travesty. I'm happy we're on the same page. As instances are especially high in British communities, I would also advocate for setting up a special domestic violence task force in collaboration with British women's rights organizations. Monica looked at her strangely. Are you sure that's something we ought to focus on? The Blues are different, they have their own rules. Monica, I'm surprised at you. We can't let women suffer under the patriarchy no matter their ethnicity. I think we should lift up all Swedish women, Blues included. Yeah, we can discuss the particulars once the law is passed. How about support for working mothers? Ciara nodded. It simply isn't fair that women in the workforce are punished for having children. Remember when I told you about Janice, my friend who basically got fired for becoming pregnant? That would never happen to a man. Yet maternity leave and state-subsidized daycare centers could be key to keeping more mothers employed. It's true, having children never hindered my career prospects. It shouldn't hinder a woman either. Exactly. Moving on. Equal treatment in the workforce. That's an easy one. Right now, Southern is one of the continent's largest pay gaps between men and women. We need legislation ensuring that a woman doing the same job as a man is paid the same wage. We would also introduce quotas to get more women into positions of power. The assembly, for instance, or on the boards of corporations. Eventually, narrowing the pay gap is far more pressing issues to bring financial independence to countless lower-income women. Sorry, we never talked about this, but I always thought that with more women in power, higher status for all women would naturally follow. Women are starving because they don't make a living wage. It's a damn sight more important than your friend Janice being passed over for promotion. I don't see a problem with quotas, but tackling the pay gap is much more urgent. Monica gritted her teeth. Thank you, Mr. President. And gender equality in public education. Ciara grinned. You know how much this means to me, and you've witnessed the dangers firsthand. The way girls are shut out of real education unless their parents have the means to get them out of the public school system. So many bright minds being lost. I wouldn't entirely demean the old system, Ciara. Diana still loves her handicrafts classes. I'm not saying we'll take those away. Maybe boys should learn handicrafts too. Monica burst out laughing. Imagine Frank in an apron. We've had this conversation, Ciara. I'm entirely on your side. Good, then we see eye to eye on the matter. That covers all subjects. What are your thoughts so far? You've made a good case for all these changes. Thank you. If we can pull this off before the elections, the Reign administration will make history. Let's talk about how to proceed. I want to establish a commission for women's rights in Sworland with me as its head. Our goal should be passing and implementing a set of laws to solve the problems we just discussed. As the commission spokeswoman, my responsibility will be to make speeches and organize fundraisers. I'll be the face of this movement while Ciara handles the groundwork. If I can show the First Ladies behind this movement, many women will feel encouraged.
Ciara gestured down her outfit.
Especially those who aren't keen on pantsuits. The organization's name will be the Commission on the Status of Women.
It's going to be damn hard getting your laws past the Assembly.
I know, but even a watered-down version would be better than nothing. One more thing to consider before making your decision. This could help silence any of the public's lingering questions regarding your former Vice President and the Livia Suno affair.
Monica lowered her voice.
Anton, I'm not completely naive. I know what we're proposing would have its downsides. But every time I look at our daughter, I think about how I'd do anything to grant her a better future. I know you would too, just like you told me all those years ago. I hope you make the right decision. We both do.
Ciara was looking studiously and scratching my desk. She blinked and turned back to us.
That's right, Mr. President.
They rose from his seats expectantly. I took a few minutes to think. Yeah, I'll approve the creation of the commission and support your bill in the Assembly. Monica turned to her, whatever.
That's all the excitement you can muster. You did it. We did it.
Monica hugged Ciara. She smiled uncomfortably.
It's not over yet, Monica. The true battle is the Assembly. We'll celebrate once that's over with. I'll start gathering names for the commission tonight.
Ciara started collecting her documents. She and Monica headed towards the door. Monica paused before leaving.
I love you, Anton. I'll see you at home.
I could hear Monica and Ciara talking excitedly to each other as the door closed behind them. I looked out my window of the city of Holsort. It was a clear day outside. Fantastic. Alright. Looks like we just have one codex update on Monica becoming the spokesperson for the Commission for Women's Rights. Coolio. Alright, so back to Holsort to pick our new vice president. It was here, the day I've been dreading since Peter's resignation. The entrance to my office, my new secretary Sylvia took my hat and coat. She was a matronly woman in her 40s. She had a spotless background assisting various Marin Palace officials. Replacing Livia had been easy, but replacing my vice president would be difficult. Sorge law dictated that if the vice president failed to complete his term, new cabinets were to be put forward by members of the cabinet. After much deliberation, the list had been narrowed down to 3. Lucian Glad was a frontrunner, followed by Gloria Tori and Alban Clavin. It was up to me to decide who would fill Peter's shoes. I wanted to chat with him one-on-one before making my decision. I had just begun to settle at my desk when I heard a knock at the door. Lucian entered and perched on the chair across from me.
Sir.
Alright, Lucian, you're one hell of a strategist, but why should I make you VP?
It is precisely my capacity as strategist that I've evaluated the experience and capabilities of potential vice presidents. Objectively, I am by far the most qualified candidate. I would advise you to not only think about our long history together, but also the many crises I have helped shepherd you through. I won't say much beyond that. I believe my work speaks for itself.
You're such a valuable strategist, though. I don't know if I can afford to lose you in that capacity.
As Vice President, my ability to serve you in this administration will only increase.
Lucian got up from his chair.
I expect you to make the right decision.
He left my office. Just a minute later, there was another knock at the door, and Gloria Tori came in.
Mr. President, I must say I was not surprised at all when my name was put forward.
You seem confident.
I am, Mr. President. To put it simply, what I bring to the table is years of experience. I have been a member of the Assembly for almost 20 years, and I spent 7 as its Speaker. This alone speaks for itself. As you know, I am also the spokesperson of the party, as well as the leader of the Conservative wing. You can see what I'm getting at. You become the Vice President, and I get the votes from the Conservatives. Precisely. This would allow us to pass bills far more easily, especially if those bills are aligned to my block's causes. I'll think about it. I want you to know that I value order over everything else, Mr. President. Being a Speaker of the Assembly requires principles, nerves like steel, and determination to uphold proper conduct. You can expect to see the same with my Vice Presidency. You being a woman could also prove advantageous. Not just any woman. A strong woman who is able to protect order in a room full of unruly men for 7 years. Think about the message you would send. The first woman Vice President of Solid. No, the first woman Vice President in the whole continent. What support you lose among traditionalists, you will gain tenfold among Solish women. There's much to gain from selecting me, Mr. President. I believe you make the right choice. You're right, there's much to gain. I'll consider it. I knew you would see reason. I wish you a nice day, Mr. President. Gloria made her way out. A minute later, there's another knock at the door. This time it is Alban Clobin's turn. Greetings, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be chosen as candidate. It's really terrific. I'm straightforward. Why should I pick you? As you know, I represent the reformist wing of the party. What's all the need today is not only to catch up to our more modern neighbors, but to surpass them. I believe we can do that. No, I am sure. However, this will only be possible if we set aside our differences and unite as one. This is the outlook I wish to bring to the position of Vice President, so that Solden can excel and soar to new heights. I didn't ask about your opinions. What can you provide me with? Very well. The fact is, if I'm Vice President, foremost members of our party will be more likely to support you and your causes. This will smooth the passage of bills and help move our administration of the country forward in record time. That makes sense. And now, what this country needs is more dynamic, youthful leadership. Look at you, President Rain. You became the youngest member of the Assembly and completely rejuvenated social politics. I want to do the same. We need to be able to take risks and make gains. That is only possible with a forward-looking perspective. There, I've stated my case. I trust your judgment. Thank you. I'll consider what you said. Thank you, Mr. President. Alban got up and left. I leaned back in my chair, thinking about the pros and cons of each of my vice presidential candidates. I could almost hear Peter's voice in my head, laughing at the absurdity of the situation. But of course, he wasn't here. Sweet. Alright. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pick the vice president right now. So, I'm pretty sure picking Gloria is going to be the right choice. Most because I don't want to lose Lucian in his capacity. Alban's going to probably hurt me more than anything. And yeah, I think picking Gloria definitely, well, like she said, lose some votes to traditionalists, but gain a lot of extra votes, or less supports among women, especially if we're adding in that women's rights initiative thing. So, we're going to go ahead and pick Gloria. Fantastic. Alright. Codex update. Probably just saying that Gloria has been bumped up. Let's see, scroll down. Yeah. Reign appointed Gloria Torres as Vice President. Fantastic. Alright. So, that just leaves us with a donation to the Swordish League of Women. But, honestly, I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave that for next time. It just feels like a pretty good place to go and stop. So, as always, thank you all very much for watching, and hope to see you all next time.